All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Wakak, Wadash. I want to give the honors to my apostles and elders, great millstone, who teach very well, learned this truth from, and salutation that they're to the hopeful elect who continue to push this word in our truth, faith, and sincerity. And also, Shalom to all the men, women, and children who sincerely believe upon the words of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua. And on today, man, basically get on Esau coming to get his end. One of the major ways he's going to bring the NWO together is through money, through currency, man. Even as a modern day in Esau society, money make the world go around. But it also says in the scriptures that the love of money, let's go ahead and get that, man. I know it's in Timothy, I'm typing. The love of money is the root of all evil. That's why a lot of people are going to take that finger because they love this society. And ultimately, they love being under Esau in his wickedness, man. So let's go ahead and get this on 1 Timothy 6:10. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Now you're going to Ecclesiastes, it says wisdom is a defense and money is a defense, but the excellency of wisdom will save you, roughly paraphrasing, man. So money is not evil, but the love of money is. Read this again. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some cover after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So ultimately, you loving this money and you loving this world, you're going to be pierced with the money, man. Let's get this in Isaiah 36:6. It says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. Now, again, those piercings is two different words for Yahweh Shemawashai. He also do a play on words because the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the tiny little device that's going to go under people's skin, they're going to actually have to pierce you, man. If you want to continue to get your Walmart money, if you want to continue to live your everyday life as an American, if you want to continue to live as a damn slave, this devil is going to want to jab you up. And first and foremost, it's going to be a conscious decision. It's not like somebody who's going to take the MOTB is not going to know what's going on. No, it's going to be fully aware what you're doing, man. And 9 times out of 10, the reason why the people are going to be doing this is because they are trapped, for the lack of better words, in the system of Esau. You know? Let's go ahead and continue on. Let's go ahead and get this going back into this article. It says bankrate.com. Could a one world currency work? Key takeaways: the euro shows both promises and pitfalls of unified currency. Economic sovereignty remains a key barrier to global adoption or even global adoption or even global takeover. Digital innovations are changing the traditional currency dynamics, and those innovations you see here, political and cultural factors, yeah, political and cultural factors matter as much as economics for the prospect of a global currency. And there's no coincidence that this nigga Elon Musk, guy who's trying to put a brain device in people's head, he's the opposite of Trump. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article. You brothers can look it up. Well, when if I remember, I'll put it in the description. You know what I'm saying? But let's read a little bit of this. It's this currency shapes everything from data transactions to global trade. Yet most people rarely think about why we have different currencies in the first place. Yes, because again, back in the ancient it was a bargaining system. You know, it got to a point where you trade for gold, but ultimately it was still that bargaining system that was at hand. If you got eggs and I got potatoes, eggs for potatoes, every 2 eggs is 1 potato, every 2 potatoes is 1 egg, I got chickens, you got roosters. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, economy it really really supposed to be an ecosystem. You know, everybody watch out for each other. You know, it's supposed to be a well-oiled machine. You know, that's how the money gonna be in the kingdom of heaven. You know, it says the kingdom of heaven is gonna be open continually. You know, with this stock market can't be open continually because the money is defied. Let's continue on. And for good reasons. In theory, it could eliminate exchange rates, reduce transaction costs, and simplify international trade. Because some of these countries basically getting hot, man, really, really heavy with trying to trade and make money through the currency. That's why you see China with the on Russia is making their own currency. But the one thing about it, the new currency that they're making, all these are digital currencies. Today's global currency landscape is a complex ecosystem that's involved over centuries. Yes, the U.S. dollar dominates the ecosystem, serving as the world's primary reserve currency, and ultimately is ran off the petrodollar. You know, ran off oil is not backed up by something that's truly valuable. It's just the euro demonstrates how multiple economies share a single currency, while digital innovations like cryptocurrency suggest new possibilities for borderless money. That's basically a whole bunch of ones and zeros, man. You know, you know, they can say add six, add six, but also it's gonna leave people, you know, hey, you know, it's the dream of universal currency. Is it true? Or credit cards and digital payment dominated finance, gold served as a natural global currency. Back there gold, precious metal, creating a simple system everyone understood. Yes, because if I got 4 ounces of gold and you weigh your okay, now give me that exchange. But let's say if I got you know, 5,000 Durans, you know what I'm saying, or 2,000 yuans. That's probably, you know, however much 100 hours. I think $1 million a Duran, if I'm not mistaken, is no more than $1,000 a US, man. So you have to pay $1 million of Middle Eastern currency just to get $1,000 of US currency, man. You know, that's why it says that gold is more simple. And what made it more complex is after we're going to go into a country's back their money with precious metals, creating a simple system everyone understood. So it left governments with little room to manage economic ups and downs. So you can't fuck with the economic system. Basically, the elites couldn't get out, man. You know, they couldn't crash the global system. They couldn't bring it up. They couldn't raise interest rates just like that. Because one thing about these precious metals and stones, they never lose their value. Well, guess what do lose its value? The oil. You know? That's why most people gas prices are up more and more. The value of the dollar is going down more and more. Let's get this right here, the main point. Everything shifted after World War II in 1944, and it's the spirit of World War III, man. In 1944, representatives from 44 countries met towards New Hampshire, United States, with a bold plan to rebuild the global financial system. They eventually made the U.S. dollar the world go-to currency, promising to exchange dollars for gold at $35 per ounce. Other countries pegged their currency to the dollar, bring financial peaking order that still largely exists. Even once you go past that, after 1944, but once you go during the 1960s, President Richard Nixon, he did away with that standard of precious stones and metals, man. You know? And ultimately, when he backed the U.S. dollar behind is what? Oil. After you got all the gold, after you got all the precious metals, you had it in quote unquote Fort Knox. And everybody said, you know, it's all ours. I'm at my house. You know what I'm saying? That's the spirit that Esau did. Everybody's money. the ultimate ice move. Now instead of the gold or the dollar being a gold bet or a dollar bet, going to the bank and give them a $20 gold note for the lack of better words, and they give you $20 worth of gold. That's going out the window. Now these U.S. dollars or the U.S. money is nothing but a whole bunch of IOUs. Now let's go ahead and see to the point. Benefits of the single world currency, a unified global currency sounds appealing, simple on paper. It offers some genuine advantages. Let's examine what a world with one currency might look like. Trade without barriers. So basically, trade with anybody. We ain't gotta have no middleman because that's what America been the whole time. The ultimate middleman. If China want to trade with Venezuela, you have to go through the U.S. You know, and right here it's pricing transparency. When everyone uses the same currency, price comparison becomes easy and obvious. No more mental math trying to figure out 200 years is a big deal for that camera or whether it's now that transparency can increase competition and potentially lower prices for consumers worldwide. So again, instead of you paying 20,000 won, everything's going to be a flat rate. And hopefully, a lot of these third world countries going to hop on it. Man. A lot of these going to work their ass off for pennies, man. You know, and so when their pennies become dollars, their dollars become digital. You don't want to keep hold into the, for lack of better words, the love that they have. The economic stability for developing nations. And that's what I just spoke about, man. These third world countries is going to hop on. That's why when you go to Revelation 13 in verse 16, it makes so much more sense. That's why I says he calls it all. He calls it all. So even these third world countries is going to be affected. He says that also in the book of Revelations 3. It's not like this is going to be just a thing that's going to be isolated to the West. No, this is going to be the main stage. But this message or the spirit of prophecy is affecting the whole world. You know, the next teacher, man, when he was down there in Nigeria, man, down there in Africa land. Instead of you telling them about black Jeebus, you should have warned them about the the upcoming dangers ahead, man. But let's get this real quick in Revelation 13, because they have kept the realm of my patience. I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, the title that dwell upon the earth. And the reason why all the world makes so much sense is economic stability for developing nations, man. So India, a lot of these third world countries are going to get brought up into a quote unquote level once they get the seed here, once they get a transaction in there, man. And that transaction is going to come in the form about a little device going inside your hand. It says many developing countries struggle with volate currencies, basically going up and down, they make long-term planning difficult. A stable global currency provide the monetary foundation that helps economies grow. We've seen the benefit on a smaller scale when dollarization helps some countries combat hyperinflation and establish economic stability. And we can see a hyperinflation coming in the U.S. today. Now, real quick, the regular book of definition of hyperinflation, we're going to jump off into the news. Trump is leading us to hyperinflation. Venezuela still going through hyperinflation. There's one right there. The first one right there, I knew it was going to come up. But Trump is leading us to hyperinflation. And the only way hyperinflation can be calmed down is by the coming of a new currency. It's everybody, unless somebody gets caught out, a new currency have to come up to balance off that hyperinflation, especially if that hyperinflation is going to be the main sense of resource for the world. You know? So instead of everybody loving a $100 bill, you go to Mexico, this is not $100 bill, you know? They're gonna do away with it, and they're just gonna have a scanning device. So let's go ahead and finish them off. Let's go get some 3, verse 16. He calls us all, both small and great, before men bond, to receive their right hand or in their forehead. Now, real quick, let's get that word receive, because it says he calls us all. Big countries, small countries, the regular workers, the executives, the politicians. I believe a lot of them got the seat up in them. When you get into that word receive, it actually goes into it says give to me. It says to give someone, right? To bestow a gift. It says to give over to one's care, to entrust, commit. So basically, you in complete relationship with Esau now. Going back into that Isaiah 36 and 6. It says, go by trust in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, or on if a man lean, it was going to his head and pierce it. There was Pharaoh, king of Egypt, for all that trust in him. So you go into the word, the domi, it says to give over to one's care and trust commit, something to be administered. You're going to administrate that fee right here. To give what is due or obligatory to pay wages or reward. So in order to receive your wage or your reward, to get your direct deposit, these devils is going to switch things up with global currency, man. You know, the global currency is going to be the biggest fork in the road for Israel. It's going to be two decisions: whether you're going to lean upon Esau, or you're just going to lean upon your high bash out of shop, no matter how hard the shit's going to look. So yeah, I can just quick little video. I pray he was edifying. We give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Hashem, we give the honors to my apostle,